Welcome everybody to ABG Sundal Collier Investor Day, and our first presentation here we have StrongPoint CEO Jacob Tverabak. Please go ahead, Jacob. The stage is yours.
Thank you so much, and thank you for allowing me to present one of the most exciting companies on the Oslo Stock Exchange, namely StrongPoint. I'm the CEO, Jacob Tverabak, and I'll take you through an overview of what StrongPoint is all about. So if you may go to the first slide, for those of you that do not know much about StrongPoint, in short, we are a 1.1 billion Norwegian kroner company as per last year, achieving a little bit in excess of 100 million EBITDA, or 8.8%. We focus on retail technology, and I will be explaining what we and I mean with retail technology in StrongPoint setting. Our own offices are focused around 4 countries: Norway, Sweden, the Baltics, which by the way are 3 countries, and Spain. So 4 geographic areas, and we have an increasing growth of our partner network to sell our proprietary solutions elsewhere. Lastly, as a very short intro, which is also important, is the fact that we're not only not only selling, servicing, but also installing and supporting our solutions. We provide both software and we provide both hardware, and it's this combination that is unique and needed for our customers. So with that, I wanted to go to the next slide to provide a little bit of backdrop. And we had this backdrop at our strategy update session earlier this year, prior to COVID-19. At that point in time, we said that the retail landscape is in a large transformation, and that transformation is driven by a number of factors, but primarily by e-commerce. And of course, with COVID-19, that development is accelerating. There's not a single retailer out there that is not talking about e-commerce and the massive growth that the e-commerce is experiencing. If you go to the next slide, because that backdrop of e-commerce and e-commerce growth is what is driving what we at StrongPoint call the double opportunity. Double opportunity because on one hand, you have the brick and mortars or stores being put under pressure from e-commerce, where basically you see e-commerce growth taking some of the sales from the stores, which lead to a margin pressure in the stores. And of course, with COVID-19, there is also the safety element of shopping. Is it safe to go shopping? And StrongPoint provides both efficient solutions to gain productivity in the stores, as well as a safer shopping experience. The other part of the double opportunity for StrongPoint is exactly within e-commerce, and rather than only establishing an online presence, which most retailers should or would have done by now, it is really about scaling up and really stepping up the online presence. And StrongPoint provides what I would call world-class solutions, both on picking, but also on delivery options for retailers. If you go to, I'll try to put a little bit more juice on what do we mean by the in-store solutions we have. So on the next page here, you will see an overview of a store where we have laid out some of the solutions we have. So this is a non-exhaustive list of the solutions we have. And as at least Norwegians, Swedes or Baltics, you would have seen our solutions that we both own but also sell for third parties when you are in the stores. That could be self-checkout machines, that could be electronic shelf labels, it could be cash management systems with CashGuard. It could be workforce management tools you really don't see, but you will experience that by having the appropriate number of staff in place. And also touching upon the e-commerce opportunity, of course you will in some instances have seen or observed pickers in store with our picking solution, and also our click and collect lockers. So these are some of the solutions that we're providing to our customers in the store. Going to the next slide, then looking at, well, what do StrongPoint offer in terms of its e-commerce offering? And in principle, you could say that we deliver everything from a order has been placed in a web shop. So everything after a order has been placed in a web shop, we do. And the solutions we have are very modular, so you could essentially be picking the solutions that you want to integrate with existing systems you might have. What this picture shows is an illustration of the two biggest cost items, and that is picking and it's delivery, or last mile of our solutions, or of grocery retail and retail in general. We have focused our solutions around grocery retail, and we're doing that because there is this is the by far most demanding online space there is. There's a lot of SKUs, a high frequency of purchases, temperature zones. So if we master this, we master basically anything else. What this slide shows is the different operational choices you have as a retailer. You can be doing the picking in store, and you can be doing the picking in dark store or dedicated dark stores. And if the person holding the clicker is pressing 2 more times, you will see an overview of the solutions that StrongPoint offers in this respect. On the very right-hand side, for instance, you will see an illustration of the mobile click and collect lockers that was actually just announced yesterday, was installed for Willys at 4 Circle K's. I could spend 1 hour talking about this slide and why manual picking in many instances is superior to the sort of automated picking, which require a lot of investments up front. But rather than spending today's time on that, I will rather encourage you all to attend tomorrow's webinar that we have on how to make online profitable. So, with regards to StrongPoint's financial status, this next picture or pie chart shows an overview of how the 1.1 billion turnover is distributed along the different business segments we have. The first thing you will see is that retail technology is about 3/4 of our revenue in 2019. And actually, as per Q1, this is 80%. We have about 1/3 of the sales within what we call in-store productivity solutions, which include, amongst others, electronic shelf labels, shop floor logistics, which is our proprietary order management system, and more. We have cash management constituting some 20%, where it's important to recognize that the growth in cash management is really seen in the Mediterranean parts of the countries, not though during the very challenging COVID times, but in general. And we're also seeing our checkout efficiency solutions, which self-checkout solutions and Vensafe, as some of the examples, being some 5% of revenue last year. E-commerce growing from 5% last year to 6% in Q1. And when you look at the revenue contribution of 5%, that is actually upped by EBITDA contribution in 2019 of 8%. So very pleased with that. If you go to the next slide, to provide a little bit of overview of what is the geographical footprint, you will see that StrongPoint's main markets, where we have our own offices, is focused around these 4 areas. Norway, Sweden, the Baltics, and Spain. And we have ample opportunity, as I will show, to grow within these 4 regions. But in addition to that, we have a growing and intensified focus on our partner network. We have some of the best solutions when it comes to both e-commerce, checkout, and cash management that we would like to bring out to the rest of the world, and that we're doing through partners. If we then go to the next page, which reads significant growth potential for retail technology, it's fair to say, and at StrongPoint we believe in focus. And when I say that because when we are looking at the customer segment that we are serving, we are focusing our efforts on the grocery retail segment. And there are 3 reasons why we do that. Number 1 is if you compare the grocery retail turnover to the total retail turnover in these markets, that constitutes about 3/4 of the revenue. Secondly, if you look at the expected investments in retail technology, actually grocery retail is expected to constitute 80% of the total retail technology spend. And lastly, and this we also said before COVID-19, the grocery retail segment is a very resilient segment, which has proven again in the COVID-19 situation. And we just believe that if you really are able to serve this high demanding segment of grocery retail, then we're going to have significant spillover effects to other retail segments. That could be do-it-your-own stores, that could be pharmacies, etc. Going to the next page, and you can click 2 times to show the stated financial ambition for StrongPoint. We presented this at our strategy update session earlier this year. 2.5 billion Norwegian kroner organic growth will get us there in 2025. So 2.5 billion in 2025 from today's 1.1, and in EBITDA margin improvement from last year is about 9% to 13 to 15%. And it should be said that we have both revisited and restated this this ambition after COVID-19. I think in many instances the value proposition of StrongPoint is even higher, in particular on e-commerce. Next page showing the build-up of how we get to 2.5 billion. And this has followed a very diligent and thorough process with the entire management team, the board. And the main story is that we expect growth to come across the board of our solutions. Notably, should be said, e-commerce is expected to grow quite massively, contributing some 400 million growth of the growth potential in 2025. If anything, the COVID-19 situation has at least uplifted my ambitions for the speed of when we achieve this. And I'm very excited about the opportunities to bring out our e-commerce opportunities in the world. It should also be said that you see a dotted line under cash management, which is to indicate that we do anticipate a continued decline in the use of cash and cash management systems in Norway and Sweden. But still, even with COVID-19, some of the Mediterranean markets and other markets that we have really studied in detail have in excess of both 70 and 80% cash share, which is so high that there is a very, very good potential to still sell the fastest and most reliable cash management system out there. In sum, on the next page, we have tried to formulate the strategy and what we're achieving in this picture. We have 3 what we call what pillars, and we have two how pillars of how we will be supporting the strategy for StrongPoint. Starting with pillar number one, we expect to continue to penetrate the key markets, Norway, Sweden, Baltics, and Spain, with more of the solutions that we have a deeper relationship with our clients. And we expect that a lot of the growth will also be coming from those markets. Number two is ensuring that we take the solutions that we have that really are world-class out in the market. And that includes, in particular, e-commerce. It includes the cash management systems in the both cash-rich, but also areas where safety or security is needed for cash. And it's also in checkout efficiency, where both the efficiency of a shopping experience, but also the safety or perceived safety of customers is very much in demand. So our contact-less or contact-free solutions are very much in demand there. Lastly, and pillar number three is something we're very proud of, and that is the fact that with a strong market position in the key markets, we are also able to attract top technology companies from around the world. So we are, as such, being allowed close to exclusivity for many, or exclusivity or close to exclusivity for many top solutions. That could be Pricer, it is Sunrise Technology, it is Reflexis's workforce management solutions, and we have many more very exciting discussions ongoing. And lastly, it's the two how pillars. Number one, we will continue to invest in our people to both attract, retain, and develop the very best people to deliver on the what pillars. And we're investing more in people than we have ever done in the past. And lastly, also, in particular in these times, it feels, in lack of a better word, comfortable, if I may use such a word, that we have a strong balance sheet, we're profitable, and we have cost control, which enable us to both grow profitable, but also take one or two hits from the COVID-19 situation going forward. So that was an attempt to sort of, provide the overall strategy picture for StrongPoint. I will finish off with one or two last slides there. One showing the immediate impact as we see of the COVID-19. So there's a slide here with showing some red and greens with regards to what are the immediate effects of COVID-19. And we don't do guiding, but this is merely to provide a perspective on how COVID-19 is hitting StrongPoint. And it's hitting us, on the one hand side, if you look at retail technology, the overall sum is positive, right? We see the growth in e-commerce and the growth for solutions that ensures an efficient and safe shopping experience is massively getting traction. On the other hand side, of course, with Spain in particular having been in a lockdown situation, the demand is very difficult to do something with when stores other than the grocery stores are closed. And in the DIY segment, we're actually seeing now coming from a period with bit of shock and awe, it's coming into a period with more demand, in particular in hardware and do-it-your-own. Outside retail technology, labels business, where we provide labels to fast-moving consumer goods, are experiencing a very solid growth, whereas our cash security segment, which provides cash security cases to transport cash, is more or less negatively impacted as the international customers are experiencing lower general retail demand. So in sum, on the last page, why StrongPoint? Well, we are growing from 1.1 to 2.5 billion Norwegian kroners in 2025. We are improving the quality of the revenue base by growing or getting a much higher share into a growing segment such as e-commerce, and we expect a quarter of the revenue to come from e-commerce in 2025. We're more than doubling the recurring revenue base that we have, and we're doing so profitable all the way along. So what is there not to like about StrongPoint? And with that, I open for some concluding questions from Petter and ABG.
All right. Thank you very much, Jacob, for your presentation. So I have a couple of questions for you. First off, COVID-19 seems to have accelerated the shift towards online grocery shopping. How has this impacted you, and do you think this will continue in the long run?
Well, I think a lot of people have, or a lot of retailers are now experiencing that what you were sort of expecting to happen in the next 3 years is actually happening in 3 weeks. Right? And I think that what you're experiencing now is a shift into a online world where customers that normally would have been going to the brick and mortar stores have finally gotten their eyes open for what e-commerce has to offer. I think this is a permanent shift in consumer expectations about how a shopping experience should be. That's not to say that the extreme volumes you've had today not could come down temporarily, but in general, the growth will continue, and we're pleased to see that many retailers and grocery retailers are stepping down from the fence and finally putting some action behind their long-awaited online plans. So we have more exciting and ongoing discussions about how we could be supporting retailers and grocery retailers than ever before. And as an example, tomorrow we have a webinar. We had calculated 100 people to join, and very quickly that was oversubscribed, and we had to sort of overinvest or invest more in more capacity to accommodate for that. So a lot of interest.
All right. Yeah, that leads me into the next question. Because the grocery sector overall has seen a boost in sales during this pandemic, could this possibly lead to more investments in new retail technology for you?
Absolutely. Absolutely so. I think what we have talked about all the way along as the double opportunity for StrongPoint, it doesn't only hold true, but it's also accelerated in time and magnitude. What you will see is in the stores with e-commerce growing so rapidly and massively, you will need to invest in the stores to both make them more efficient but also more safe, as our, for instance, checkout efficiency solutions would cater for. And when you look at sort of the online growth that's out there, I mean, the growth is just fantastic, and we're expecting, as I said, this to continue.
All right. So you mentioned that you have a strong balance sheet earlier, and when the pandemic blows over, do you think that you will see more M&A opportunities available for you?
But I think on one hand side, you could, we foresee that there should be opening up opportunities of, say, struggling companies, so you'd be able to do bargains. On the other hand, I mean, the companies that we're looking at to really reinforce the strategy of StrongPoint are not the companies struggling. These are the companies that are already in the e-commerce space or catering for grocery retailers. But absolutely, I mean, the solid balance sheet that StrongPoint has, and with our profitability, that's of course enabling M&A. And although we have a 2.5 billion financial ambition to grow and grow organically, that's not to say that we will not be doing M&A in addition to the 2.5 billion.
Okay, perfect. I think we are running out of time here today. But thank you very much, Jacob, for presenting here at Introduce Day, and good luck with the company ahead.
Thank you so much. Now got to run and sell more solutions. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.